I don't know where you want to start, dude, because it's been like, yeah, two and a bit weeks.
Yeah, it's uh, it's been an interesting few weeks actually. There's a few things that's happened that we need to talk about for sure.
Yeah, I don't
But I
know.
didn't get it.
Like, what do you feel like? Because we've got the apparently the console wars are over with Halo jumping onto the PlayStation. We've got the potential, the trailer. I think it is coming out with the Avatar movie in December for Avengers Doomsday. We've got the sale of Warner Brothers, which is insane to think like it's up for auction for everyone to be able to buy Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, freaking yeah, DC. What else was there? Um, what the hell else was there? It was Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, DC, and the frick was it? God, I am lost now.
That's all right. I'll
But but yeah,
do a quick search.
can do Predator Badlands if you want, because I've seen it, but I don't know if you want me to spoil it or just do a spoiler free review for you.
I think it's better for you to pitch everything to me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can just respond because haven't had a lot of time, and I'll be honest with you, Stacey, and I don't go to the movies. Uh, it's I don't know. I remember going to the movies a lot more when I was a bit younger, and it was a bit different. Now, I don't know. The movies aren't as hyped up. You know, obviously when we go, the intermittent amount of times that we do together, which I'd say ad hoc, but
Mm.
I don't know. The Transformers, for instance, you know, go to the movies to see that. But now it's like, is there any blockbuster movies coming out that I want to go see on the big screen? Hasn't been anything recently, you know. But I don't know. You tell me what you think, and I'll tell you whether or not I'm going to go see it by myself.
So just a quick run through of the reason why we're not getting so many massive blockbusters at this time of year and this season and stuff. So COVID happened. When you put a movie into production, it takes at least a good 20 to 24 months for it to get potentially completed. Then it's a year of promotion stuff. So you're looking at pretty much like 3 years. So when COVID hit, production on movies, everything all just stopped. They were just like, no, we can't keep making these. We can't get this going. Studios were being extremely careful with what they were spending money on because they wanted guaranteed hits. They weren't getting that with their sensitivity committees and their DEI programs kind of holding up production because when a script's complete, it's like, no, 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 no. It's got to go through another round of committees before it gets approved to start filming. And then you've got to have approval from those committees and stuff. So, like, this was just delaying, delaying, delaying. Finally, we can make movies again. Finally, like, it's coming. Everyone can go back to work. And what happens is writer's strike. Hollywood goes on
Mm.
strike, and this just delays another 6 months to a year of production on different films and stuff. So here's the thing: when the writer's strike had started, James Gunn had just finished writing the Superman movie, started filming it. He couldn't do rewrites. He couldn't do anything because he's part of the Writers Guild. So I absolutely knew the second that Superman comes out, there's just going to be a big open gap of nothing coming for at least a good 6 to 8 months. Hence why we're looking at now. They're re-releasing Back to the Future. They're re-releasing the Twilight movies. They're re-releasing Kill Bill this December, an extended cut. I think they're re-releasing Lord of the Rings or something as well. There's a bunch of stuff that's getting re-released. Earlier this year, they released Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. That's now 20 years old, which is so weird to say that. And that made money. What's so crazy is that these old school movies that we all grew up with, that we loved, they're making more box office money than the current stuff that they've been dropping out. Stuff that's been coming out and just bombing, like the new Tron Ares, that bombed. The Rock's new movie that came out, that bombed. Just it's so weird to be like, huh, you think you know your audience? The audience wants everything of old. They're not interested in this new take on your modern filmmaking for modern audience. It's a little bit weird. So with this Predator Badlands that's come out, this was interesting because I was saying to Rogue Kitty Cat when we were watching this, and I won't give you any spoilers or anything, but nothing that you haven't seen the trailer and that you wouldn't be like, oh god, I didn't see that coming kind of thing. But when we went to see Badlands, Rogue Kitty Cat saying to me, we should watch the original Predator because that's awesome. And I was like, no, we shouldn't. We shouldn't watch it before we watch this because I've got a feeling we're going to watch this and then go back and want to watch the original Predator because that there's everything that's followed that original Predator movie. Nothing's been able to top that. There's been nothing that could be on that level of greatness. So, like, it's this sad thing where it's a rare deal where we can get a sequel or a follow up to a really great movie. Like Batman Begins was really great, but then we got The Dark Knight, which was awesome. The original Star Wars movie was great, 1977, but then we got Empire Strikes Back, and that was awesome. Terminator was a really cool movie, and then we got Terminator 2. Alien was good, then we got Aliens, that was even cooler. But sometimes when you I don't know if it's like, well, we got a different director, or well, we got different writers and stuff, and they don't understand the audience and what they want and what they're expecting. Like, you better be as good as what came before, if not better. Like, so we went into this Badlands, and I didn't have high expectations, but I was really hoping, because Ella Fanning was talking about working with this director and this writers and stuff. They understand the world. They get it. They're fans. They're people who are legit kind of, hey, don't worry, we got you. And I was looking at the trailer. It's a CGI predator face and stuff. It's not an actual mask. They've got dots on the dude's face to do the special effect for him being a predator. And we watched the original Predator the other night after we got back, and I was just like, man, how do you not get to this level of kind of cool? Because I don't know if you've heard, like, that original Predator movie, it was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme playing the Predator. And day of, when Schwarzenegger was there and they were all filming and stuff, they received the big box with all the props and stuff in it for the alien costume, and Van Damme was there. And they opened it up and it looked like a praying mantis type creature. It looked so, like, terrible. So Van Damme wasn't happy about that. He turned around and was like, what, you want me to wear this? I read the script and it's supposed to be about me beating up Schwarzenegger at that time when Schwarzenegger was huge. And he was like, basically like, I quit. I don't want to do this. The director was also like, this costume is, this alien type creature looks so ridiculous. How is this supposed to be believable that this group of mercenaries, these elite force kind of like, soldiers, they're getting outwitted by this alien creature and stuff? It should look way more menacing and way more like, less lumbering and clunkering, like kind of movement. Schwarzenegger turned around and said, wait, hang on a sec, wait. He goes, let me make a phone call. Calls up his buddy Stan Winston, who designed the Terminator and designed freaking, the aliens, and was doing all his creatures and like ET and all that kind of stuff. So he calls up Stan Winston and said, "Hey, where are you?" And he goes, "I'm just about to board a plane with James Cameron. We've finished up filming in London here for Aliens. We're flying back to the States. We're flying back home." And he goes, "We need an alien costume. We need something because I'm making a movie called Predator, and I need you to make the Predator. Would you be interested? Because this would really help me out and help stop delaying filming." And Winston was like, "Well, as soon as I land up, I'll get to the studio, get started on it and stuff, get back to my production company." And he was like, "Great, thanks so much. We'll see you out here in South America where we're filming and stuff." So Stan Winston's sitting on the plane next to James Cameron, and he's starting to draw the Predator's face. He could see out the window of the plane. There was a plane from Japan that had a big dragon on the side of the plane painted on there. So he was just kind of like taking elements of that. And James Cameron looked over at him and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm doing this thing for Schwarzenegger and stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, that looks pretty good. I've never seen anything with like jowls before." And Stan Winston's like, "Fuck it." Like, drew in some jowls and stuff for it and gave it like, the kind of dreadlock kind of deals. And was just like, all right, freaking designed it, got it up and running and stuff, got out there to South America. And they got the dude who played the Bigfoot in Harry and the Hendersons, the big giant freaking tall, like almost basketball player, I think he was. Got him to whack on the suit. And that scene where it shows at the end of Predator where it takes the mask off and you can see like the sweat, you can see the animatronics movement and stuff in its face. It looks so menacing and so freaking creepy. I was like, man, that's awesome. Like, freaking, this is 1987, like, makeup and effects department. Cut to now when we're watching Predator Badlands, and I'm just like, it sort of takes you out of it because there's other creatures that are CGI. And you're just like, all right, this is a little bit, eh. But then seeing him in the daylight, it doesn't feel right seeing a predator running around the daylight and stuff, and having an undercut as well. These are complaints, but like the action scenes, they're pretty awesome. Um, I felt like there was a few missed opportunities with it and stuff. The plot is basically this young predator has, without ruining it, like he has to reclaim his honor. He's on this planet that is just the most dangerous planet in the universe. Everything, like the plants, the trees, the freaking creatures on there, they're all just trying to kill you. They're all like poisonous, venomous, like deadly, everything. So you see in the trailer, he comes across this android, Ella Fanning's, like, and she's got to do this C3PO thing. He's got to carry her on the back. He's basically using her as a tool, directing her, like, because she's just like, "I know what you're hunting and I can kind of help you find it." And he's just like, "All right, screw it." And he doesn't speak English. He's like subtitled the whole movie. But there's a few times where you do feel a little bit like this movie's been Disneyfied. It's got
Mm.
certain things in there where you're just like,
I
"Oh yeah,
solemnly
this is
swear
a
that I'm up to
Disney
no good.
plot." You know, here's our redemption hero, here's our villain, here's our, like, creature that's, support characters and all this kind of stuff. And it just gets to a point where I'm just like, if you didn't call this Predator, it would be an interesting kind of film. But the way that it was sort of built, it's like it does acknowledge well in Utani freaking the whole kind of alien universe. Like, yes, it does exist in this kind of stuff. Like, so yeah, there's a few references and things where they're just like kind of it. It's something me and Rogue Kitty Cat can really relate to. It's something where when you're part of something and then you find out this uncomfortable truth and then you want to kind of get away from it. It's like, you trust your family, or you trust the person, the company you're working with, or you're trusting the people around you and stuff, and then it falls into this betrayal thing of like, oh god, like this didn't turn out to be the thing that I was like, really invested in and stuff. So it just felt a little bit like the special effects are there. On paper, the story sounds really fascinating. Going to this dangerous planet and stuff, he's got to survive, and he's also got to reclaim his honor. And by the way, guess who's coming along for the ride? An android from the alien universe and stuff. And then there's a bigger reveal to it and stuff. And it does get to a point where I do get a little bit like, okay, come on now. Like, why are they doing that? Why are they putting that in there? Like, they didn't have to even do this, like, little montage sequence thing, but they're doing it because that's the step by step rules of how they make these kind of films. But going back to me and Road Kitty Cat watching that first Predator movie where it's taken so seriously. There's no cutesy jokes. There's no like, it's just, we've got a mission to bounce across the border, you know, complete the objective, then bounce back before, the rebels even find out that we're here. And then all of a sudden it turns into like, oh, we weren't the only squad that was sent in. We were lied to. That's BS. How come this squad got killed? Like, they were firing all directions. I can't find a single track. Doesn't make any sense. And then it goes into this tactical thing where, oh god, we're being hunted by something and we have no idea what the hell it is. And they're trying to lay traps and stuff everywhere, tripwires, all this stuff. And they're just like, it's sneaking into our camp and stealing the body that is just killed. How the hell did it do that? Like, and then they figure out, oh, it's using the trees. And they got to change up their tactics. And the movie flips from we're being hunted to it's down to Schwarzenegger and the Predator. And that scene where it's got the Predator firing into the trees when Schwarzenegger's covered in mud. The Predator can't see him, and he's just like, I don't know where he is. He's up there. Freaking, I can't find him. Like, it's such a really cool, like, kind of concept. With this Predator Badlands, I feel like there was a little bit of a more interesting story there if it was a group of predators, if there was more than just the one predator, and there's a bunch of them that are all basically like, I don't know if you want to call them prisoners or clan members, or they've got to try and survive and they've got to get from one end to the other, and it ends up leading to them trying to work together, and then finally, like, they get picked off one by one, and then finally they do take out one of the most brutal creatures. They get to the end, and freaking the Predator says, "Nah, I'm not coming back home to the Predator home world. I'll just stay here where I belong with the rest of my brethren that have just died and stuff." Like, that would have been a cool concept, but nah, it's a little bit different. But what are you like? What's your thoughts on that trailer and stuff? Like, does it feel like, like, any questions that you spotted in the trailer that you need to ask? Like, is this legit or anything?
Well, there was a. One of the dogs looking at me, Baxter. One of the big ones for me was the Alien series made reference
Yeah.
to it. So I want to watch it to see what ties into Alien Earth. And because the flora and the fauna for Weyland-Yutani, I'm fairly certain, because I deliberately haven't searched for it, there's because it's plant-related monsters, the flora side of things, I'm pretty certain they've made an appearance in Alien Earth. So that was more of an interest to see how that sort of ties together, because I sort of already know where the movie was going to go and how it was sort of going to be portrayed. And it's a bit of a shame because there's debate around, whether or not it's staying true to the original Predator. And I love the original Predator. I love the fact that um, the Predator is solo. They're not family. They're not kin. They're just like acting on their own as agents. And then every now and again, you'll get maybe more than one predator, but it's all very, I wouldn't say clinical, but it's it it's very alpha, very masculine, and if you try to take that away from Predator, you're going to have some issues because they're meant to be the alpha. They're meant to be that standalone force that's, scary, that rips spines out of bloody. Do you know what I mean? Like those scenes where it strings people, skins them and
Yeah.
rips their spine out. So if you're going to dive into some adolescent predator and then humanize it, and you're going to take away the toxic masculinity side of things, then you're
Yeah.
going to lose your audience because that's not me. I love nothing more than to watch, an alpha predator be an alpha predator, because in everyday life, I don't behave like an alpha because that's not what we do in society now, because people don't like the stereotypical alpha behavior. And if you try to be more of a man, you get accused of being, toxic
Hostile
and
and
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. Yeah, etc. So you see the themes come through in these movies, but we don't want to. People like me, I don't want that. I want what I can't have and can't be. I want to, you know, watch that cinematic side of things through something else. So if you humanize a predator on the screen, that's weak. I don't want to watch that. I want to see the alpha. I want to see that thing that has disappeared in our society that doesn't exist anymore because that's cool. Yeah, that's amazing. And I get frustrated with that alpha, you know, the whole concept and society, even with the robot on their back and all not. And sorry, it's a, what do you call it again? An android,
Yeah.
and then it's emotional, and predators aren't emotional. Predators have one thing that they want to do, and that's the hunt. That is to be the alpha. What is the biggest prey? What is the wildest possible thing that you can think of? That's what they want to get. And Prey, that movie, like I didn't mind it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just think that this will let me down. I just know it will because I've read a few things and I've seen that whole family, and the alpha stereotype sort of is not there, and I'm just like, that's not Predator. That's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not what that movie was, and that set the precedent for this. They're the building blocks. You can't just destroy the building blocks and then expect that, well, true fans or the original fans are going to be okay with that. We're not. We see right through it. We want to see the next part of Predator. Don't spin it. Don't, arc into another direction and humanize the Predator. They're not human.
Yeah.
Don't treat them like that. Don't try and push that theme onto the screen. I don't want to see that. I want to see the Predator rip the spine out of something, but not exactly like that. But that's how they behave. I don't want them to be humanized. That's not the agenda when they made the Predator movies. It was alpha. It
Yeah.
was they're the biggest, baddest, scariest thing in the universe. Don't mess with the predators. And if you do mess with the predators, you get recognized for it, like that classic. I think it was the end of Predator 2. Is it Danny Glover? Am I remembering this
Danny
right?
Glover.
It's been a
Yep.
while. Yeah,
Predator
Danny
2.
Glover. Yeah, at the end, and they're going around the room, the Predator ship,
Yep.
and you're seeing all the historic, and then the Predator gives him something, doesn't he?
He
A
throws him an
weapon?
old blunderbuster
Yeah,
handgun, and
that's it.
it shows it's like 1784 or something, like
Mm,
showing basically we've been doing this for centuries, dude. And
Mm.
yeah, that was pretty badass. You actually killed one of our own dudes. But
Yep.
it's just it's something too with Predator 2 when Danny Glover like unloads this shotgun into this freaking predator
Mm.
in that cold room, that freezer room. And the predator hits the ground and he takes the mask off. And he's like, "Wow, you're one ugly," and then it's like, "Ugly
Mm.
motherfucker." Tosses him aside, has his shotgun, and then just whack, just shatters it on the ground. And the predator's just like, freaking, all right, you ain't got your weapon now. Let's see how big and bad you are now. Like, and
Mm.
it was just something where, like, you're led to believe the reason why the predators like to hunt humans because they're unpredictable.
Mm.
So when Danny Glover's like the predator's trying to run back to the ship, and he's missing an arm. Freaking, he was supposed to set off his big bomb thing that blows him and everything up, leaves no evidence and stuff. Um, Gets back to the ship, and Danny Glover's still trying to fight him and stuff because you know, he's got to get his man. So yeah, at the end, all those predators coming out of Cloak, and he's
Mm.
just like, all right, who's next? Because he's just it looks like he's just given up. He drops the little frisbee sickle thing that he used to fight the predator with, and yeah, it was like I try not to poo poo the Predator 2 movie too much because at that point in
Mm.
time I was like, oh, Danny Glover's in there. Wouldn't have been fun if he had Riggs along for the ride with him, Mel Gibson. Like
Mm.
this because I there's no way you can follow Schwarzenegger at that time. There was no way you could do it. So they just
Set a
went with
benchmark. There's a bar.
yeah, they went with Danny Glover, and even Schwarzenegger was saying, I think it was a mistake taking it out of the jungle. They should have left Predator 2
Mm.
in the jungle. But they wanted to do a different concept and say, yeah, this is in the city now. And it's sort of like, yeah, the government's well aware of what this thing is and they want to try and capture it and stuff. But yeah, this movie, like, it is set in the future. There's no humans in it. It's all androids. So there's a few kind of cool kills and stuff, but it does get sort of drowned out with I don't know, it's such a like metaphor sort of thing where he's got this girl on his back and she's asking him about how he feels and what it means to be like doing what he does and
Stan, they put a chick in it and made it lame. That's what
well
they did.
I
Sorry,
I
I couldn't
honestly
resist.
I think Ella Fanning is as cute as a button. I think she's
Yeah, she
adorable.
is. She is. Yeah.
And there's a few scenes in there where I'm just like, man, she's the neighborhood crush, the girl who lives next door that you're like,
Mm.
oh man, I wish she would go to the ball with me. Like, just
Hmm.
it felt a little bit like that was taking over more than like this predator. Like he's to me, and even though it was subtitles, it felt like he was talking too much, and I'm just like, I don't really there's no cool factor with this freaking Predator. There's some
Predators
stuff that
don't
he's.
talk.
Yeah, I was just a little bit
They
like,
don't. They don't. There's no dialogue, and if it is, it's very minimal because it needs to make an impact. Because that's just how they've been. Well, listen, I didn't make Predator by any means, but and I did like Predator 2, but different gen, right? So I can see the transition out. And if their aim was to capture the younger generation by having an adolescent predator, they've done it wrong because. So I cut you off when
no,
when you were
that's all good.
talking. Sorry, but I'm trying to figure out who the audience is, Stan, and that's the same game that I play every single time these movies come out, these TV series come out of things that we've all, grown to love and reminisce on and will rewatch and watch over again. You know, you can't you can't get the next gen in because their interests aren't the same as ours. So, do you cut your losses, right, and cater for the existing audience that's still alive and still exists? Or do you try and cater to this gen that don't care? They're not doing the reviews. Do you see young people doing reviews on the Predator? I don't know if you've done a search of it. Do you see, 18 to 25-year-olds?
Very
It's not the
corporate.
audience.
Yeah.
Do
Very
you know
corporate
what I mean?
media. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going to make a movie that's targeting that audience and they're not going to be doing your reviews, you've got us doing the reviews and we're the ones generating discussion. You've lost. You've lost it again. You've swing and a miss every time because we still exist. Those people, the ones that you're catering to, they don't care. They're not talking about it on this level. I don't know any 20-year-old that talks about Predator. So we're the audience. So why aren't you making a movie to suit this audience? It really, really frustrates me. It really, really does. I just don't understand it. But
It's it's odd. Like when you see this, I don't know if you'll go to the cinema and see it or if you'll.
probably not. Probably not.
I think it's you can just wait for it on streaming, dude. It'll probably be out before the end of the year.
If you told me that it was going to be Predator or Predator 2 on that level, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to make an effort. I'd even go, I've seen movies by myself before, Stacey's not interested in it, but I
Yeah.
try rope you in to go and see it again, mate. Like, honestly, I would, but it's not worthy of my time and my money. Predator 1 is, Predator 2 is probably, but
Yeah.
yeah, anyway.
It's well, put it this way. It's and this is how ridiculous it sounds. We're looking for an excuse to go and eat some popcorn and just have
Yep.
a night out. And we're just like, what's this has been going on for the last couple of months. I'm like, remember the days when we went, oh, Doctor Strange is out. That's awesome. Would you see it again in the cinema? Yeah. Freaking, all right, let's go.
Hmm.
Hey, Captain America Civil War's out, or Iron Man 3's out, or New Avenger movie's out. Let's go see it. Like, let's go see it again and stuff. It's like, yeah, hell yeah. Um, we came out of Superman this year going, wow, what was that? Like, that was a bit
I couldn't
sad.
get past the first 10 minutes, Dan. I started watching it, and as soon as the robots came on screen and then hit the way that he was just sort of, I don't know, portrayed. I
Yeah,
was just like, man, I just come out of Smallville for starters,
yeah,
and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't watch this because it's just not true. Like, even if you were going to make it like go retro, go back, at least just go back wholly and completely. Don't don't put your own, yeah, just don't change it. If you're going to do a remake, don't mess with anything. But anyway, we've already talked about Superman.
but
But
like, yeah, I've
mm,
like with this film, when you look at Batman Begins and he's not in the costume in that first like half of the movie, he's just not. It's him training and they're talking about what he's going to do and we know in our heads where he's
it's
going.
building. Yeah,
And
it's coming, and we're
it's
excited though.
yeah,
Like we're getting ready.
yeah.
You know.
And then when you look at like you've seen John Wick.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yep.
that
Great
everyone's
movies. Yeah.
narrating how badass he is. The first like good over the first quarter of the movie is him not fighting or doing anything. It's just him grieving his wife and then grieving his pet dog. And then it's just building and building to the point where it's like, oh man, this is a badass. There was a point in this film where I said to Rogue Kitty Cat, I was like, you know, there's a scene where it could have had this android girl, Ella Fanning's character, turning around saying, "This isn't this freaking isn't an average poisonous dangerous species kind of thing. No, this is a hunter, and you've pissed him off. And the scary part of this is." You think you've got all the equipment and all the tools and all the weapons and all the freaking, different data and stuff, but you have no idea what's coming. You don't know what's on its way. And if I was you, I think I'd get out of here because it will not stop. If you're still on this planet, you better get freaking, you better book, hit the bricks. Like there was a scene that like that could have happened in this film where it was talking about like, oh, you think freaking like, you guys are gonna outsmart it and stuff. No, this is what this species is bred for. This is what it is. It is a hunter. It is a predator, and you're its prey. I'm sorry. I don't care how like advanced we are. We cannot stop this thing. But they didn't do that. They just kind of it just got a little bit of a skip over where I was like, all right, well, that's that. I understand they want to go with potentially building this into more of what's to come and stuff. And Rogue Kitty Cat saying to me like, yeah, I think this is building to where we know what's going to come of it and what's going to happen. But yeah, I would say like if you watch it, don't go into it thinking like, oh yeah, this is going to be light years ahead of the first Predator. Even like the second Predator movie, like I'd say that's better than this Badlands. The Aliens vs Predator movies, they just seemed like a little bit of a waste,
Mm.
like a disservice to the Predators as well. Then you had the movie in 2009, I think it was Predators, that was like trying to be a direct sequel to Predator 1 and 2, and that still was a little bit of a cluster. And then Shane Black made The Predator, where they took it urban stuff, and it was just a little bit like, yeah, having this new Predator come in and killing the original Predator, like, this is really, really sad. Like, what's become of this franchise? If you said to me all those years ago, back in like, because the first time I watched Predator, because I was a Schwarzenegger fan, I loved him in Conan. I think Red Heat and stuff. I had to crawl in when, oh God, I can't remember how old I was. I must have been like 7 or 8 years old. I had to crawl in into the lounge room and watch it under the couch on my side through a small crack where I couldn't see half the screen, and I got caught out by my brothers being like, Stan's watching freaking, and I didn't get to see the ending. I only just got the bit where Schwarzenegger crawled out and he had the mud on him and the predator just missed him, and we first saw it come out of cloak. And I was like, oh my god, there it is and stuff. And like, yeah, I didn't get to see the ending till like a year later, a year or two later. And that was at a friend's house where I got to actually watch it start to finish and stuff. So yeah, just, I, oh god, I don't know.
Do you know? I'll cut you off, Stan.
No, no.
So I'm not going to bring work into our stream, but I'm
Yep.
only going to just mention one thing with it. And what was great, former glory, disappeared. It's the same thing in my work at the moment. The same thing with the movies and the franchise. It's the same thing. And then you've got someone like myself coming in and, it's just like, oh, you got great ideas. This is, like, oh, we can do this. What do you mean we can do this? And it's just like, you guys were doing this 15 years ago. I don't have any new ideas. I'm just the person that was here 15, 20 years ago that actually understood and knew what was going on. But everything's changed. And then now you're different. People see you and they're just like, oh, hang on a second. This guy's got new ideas. It's like, no, there's no new ideas. There's what was and staying true to what was because it was good. There's no need to improve on things. And Predator, if you wanted to improve on Predator 2, because that's sort of really where it stops, let's be honest. Predator, Predator 2, the rest of it's all just fluff that we either like or we don't like, but whatever, it is what it is. Make Predator horror. Make it R. Make people cringe. Make it return it to its former glory where you were scared. In the 80s, you couldn't, in the 90s, you couldn't, the horror wasn't the same. But now with special effects, now with what you can do, you can make the predator the definition of a predator, ripping a spine out of something like a human being. Like, turn it into a horror movie so that people don't want to watch it and people will watch it because they're just like, where's the predator? Oh, he's just literally minced another person. But the way that it's, filmed, the whole kit and caboodle, we can get horrors right, put the theme in there and you'll be surprised because that is what the predator is. Be scared, be worried. It should give you nightmares, those predators. Now I watch the predator and I'm like, this ain't give me nightmares. But Predator 1, yeah, we were scared of that predator.
Yeah.
That predator was pretty scary. We couldn't see it. We didn't know what was going on. We turn around, next minute our mate, there's just blood and our mate's in pieces and like, what the fuck? What's going on? Where's that? That's not happening anymore. It doesn't exist, But if we were directing, I'm not a director. I could tell you right now, though, Stan, if we all got together and we decided, hey, we're going to produce, Predator 3, if you really want to do it, I can almost guarantee there'd be a return. There would be a fan base. There would be a discussion, and I think that's where they get it wrong, like Disney, Warner Brothers, that whole thing. Why don't you just ask the people what they want? And they will turn around and tell you, hey, I want to see it, scary. I want you to make the predator a predator. Make that movie. And then, oh, that's crazy. Look how much money we've made. Everybody's talking about it. This is amazing. But they don't. They just DI. They get someone that comes in and it's just like, oh, hey, what are we going to do this year or for the next 3? Yeah, we could do this. This is a good theme. We'll try and get this new audience in. And it's just like, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
No. If you want to do something new, go next door. Go do something new, man. That's cool. But don't destroy, something good because that's what you're doing. You're destroying it. And we're all like, I don't know, man, I'll make a fan movie. It'll be better than this. Like, I don't know, I could probably have AI make, Predator 3 better than this. Because if eventually AI will get to that point where it'll produce a movie and we'll be watching it and it'll probably have Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. It'll be the, paying homage to what was, but meanwhile, the rest of the world, it's fizzling out, and they're hanging on to DEI and whatever the hell they're hanging on to. I don't really know why, because Warner Bros. Is a classic example, like they've lost, I think it's a few bill. They've gone down. It's 6% or more.
$50 billion in debt. 50 billion.
Yeah, and that's wild. Ask your audience, what do they want to see? Stop trying to cater to the new audience. There's not enough of them. They're not interested. It's the same with EV cars and diesel and and mechanics and skills and like it's different. It's all different. You can push it, but it has to be something new. Spin it and change it, but yeah, don't rebrand it as the same thing, thinking that you're going to get the buy-in. It's not going to happen. And in all honesty, the Warner Brothers thing, I'm more concerned about HBO because HBO has produced some pretty cool things throughout the years. Don't get me wrong, and I don't really associate Warner Brothers with much anymore because they're that overarching parent. You're looking at all those little, you got HBO, which is a division. Who else do you have, Stan?
Paramount is...
Paramount, yeah.
Is it? Or, no, it's Universal, I think. I can't, it's so... This is such a cluster because I remember, all right, you go back to the early 2000s and stuff. Just to cap off what we were talking about, when I was 8 and I've watched Predator and then heard Predator 2 was coming out and, Danny Glover was going to be the lead and stuff. If you told me back then, hey, there's going to be 5 Predator movies that come out in your lifetime years from now, and guess what? pretty much most of them are going to suck. And I'd be
You,
like,
yeah,
"What? You're nuts!
yeah.
This is so cool!" But in the early 2000s, when New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers were teaming up to get Lord of the Rings off the ground, and it was Peter Jackson who was filming out in New Zealand, and even George Lucas said it himself. He goes, Peter Jackson did a great job because he tricked the studios into believing that I can make three movies with the budget of one. So he
Mm.
got freaking Fellowship done, and they left him alone. He was in New Zealand. He wasn't able to really send dailies off their filming and stuff. They just kind of left him alone to do his own thing, and he was able to handle this without getting notes from the studio saying, "Yeah, by the way, put this in it, put this in it, put this in it." And I had a conversation with a mate where I said, now that Peter Jackson, like, he had turned around and said, "All right, first one made a whole bunch of money. I need more money for the second one to complete that. If we're getting this out every Christmas, then sorry, you're gonna have to give me more money." And I said, now you look at Warner Brothers and New Line Cinemas, they were working together. Watch this now. They're going to start collaborating. Multiple studios are going to start sharing and bouncing off, doing co financing. One will distribute, one will finance the production of the movie. So it's so mixed and matched now to the point where it's it's weird to see, like, a few years ago Disney purchased the shares of Fox to get that library to put on Disney Plus. And with that came two franchises that they've been wanting to get back ever since they bought Marvel back in 2010. They got the Fantastic Four and the X-Men rights back. And they knew where to put that. They shoved them right over to Marvel Studios and stuff and said, "Yeah, get to work." When they got the rights to Aliens and Predator and, other, like, Independence Day and all this other franchises and stuff, they were like, "All right, what do we do with this?" So they formed 20th Century Studios and said, "All right, let's just throw some crap at the wall and see what we get out of it. We just need more content for Disney Plus." Hulu now has been bought out by Disney, and that's getting shut down, and all that content's going on Disney Plus. So why wouldn't Paramount, that's, I think, merged with Skydance now because Skydance bought Paramount. Why wouldn't Paramount want to get a hold of Warner Brothers and get that whole DC library, Lord of the Rings library, the Harry Potter movies and stuff, and put them onto Netflix and everything, and, like, because they've got a collaboration with them and stuff. But, like, it's such a weird thing because we were talking about the whole DEI thing. It's the old saying is, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it. Like,
Yep.
maybe you can add to it, but don't change what got you to the dance. And this is a classic example of when they were when we got Iron Man, and that wasn't overseen by Warner Brothers. It was Paramount collaborating with Marvel. Like, Marvel had this whole thing of, like, they almost went bankrupt in the late 90s. Warner Brothers almost bought Marvel, so they would have owned DC and Marvel. But they managed to sell off certain properties. They sold off, like, Sony got Spider Man, so Sony Pictures, Sony Studios was going to start making Spider Man movies and stuff. They sold off X Men rights to Fox and Fantastic Four and all that stuff, so they were able to stay afloat. But eventually, Marvel's, like, got a little bit pissed off because they're like, "Why aren't we crossing over? Why aren't they crossing over all these movies? They own the rights to all these, like, different movies and stuff, and they're not crossing over the characters. What the hell?" So they said, like, if we did it ourselves, we know exactly where to put everything. And Kevin Feige was like, "Why don't we? Why don't we put together our own studio, make Marvel Studios? We can make our own movies. We can collaborate and share the costs with another studio, but we can do this. We can get it done. And checks were bouncing at Marvel. This is in 2006. So if Iron Man in 2008 doesn't become a box office hit, Marvel goes bankrupt. But it does become a box office hit, not so much with Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. So Paramount was the one that was backing Iron Man. Universal was backing Incredible Hulk. Marvel Studios was like, we didn't really make a profit on Hulk, so we'll just get started on an Iron Man 2. And then we'll see if we can get Paramount to fund us for Thor and Captain America, the first Avenger. Paramount was like, yeah, sounds great. We'll get started on that. Disney swoops in and says, we're just going to buy Marvel. Hey, everyone, we want all our rights back. And Avengers is starting to come up. It's on the next turn. It's coming out in 2012. And pretty much Sony said, we're happy with the deal that we've got. If we have a Spider-Man movie out, I think it's within 3 to 5 years, we're allowed to extend our rights to own the Spider-Man franchise for another 5 years or whatever. Like, they just have to have that movie in production. So they're like, we're good. We're not going to give you back the rights to Spider-Man, like the film rights. And Fox was like, well, we've got the right. We lost the rights to Hulk. That reverted back to Marvel. Marvel went into collaboration with Universal. Now Universal's got the rights to Hulk, so Disney and Marvel cannot make a Hulk movie without letting Universal distribute it. So Disney was like, all right, screw them. Like, we don't need to make a Hulk movie. We've got him cameoing in our Avengers movies and stuff. They said to Fox, hey, we'd like the rights back to X-Men and Fantastic Four and Daredevil. And Fox said, well, no, we like making X-Men movies. We're going to reboot and make another Fantastic Four movie, which was that abysmal 2015 movie that came out. Daredevil rights were on the line, and Disney said to Kevin Feige, to Marvel, like, we can get the Daredevil rights back within the next couple of months. Do you want us to pitch to Fox to extend the rights to them if they can lend us some of those characters? Because you guys were talking about you wanted certain X-Men characters and stuff and Fantastic Four characters. And they said, Feige said, yeah, we just need 2 characters from Fox. Ask him, we'll extend the rights to Daredevil for them to make a movie or whatever they want to do. They just got to give us 2 characters from the Fantastic Four. And they're like, well, what's the characters? And they said, we want Galactus and we want Silver Surfer. And Fox said, screw that, have Daredevil back. And Marvel took Daredevil and said, we know exactly where to put this. They put it onto the Netflix streaming show and stuff, and it did record numbers and stuff. And followed it up with Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, and formed up the Defenders show, which was doing pretty well, but had such a low budget on production costs and stuff. Like, it was pretty much a passion project over at Netflix. So Disney Plus launches, and Disney says, right, don't let them make Daredevil shows and Luke Cage shows. We want to make them on Disney Plus, so get Netflix to stop. And Netflix like, what the hell? Like, why'd you do that? What's kind of screwed up, the formula was you had your comic book guys, your group at Marvel. This goes from 2006 when they were developing Iron Man. They were putting in all these little Easter eggs and all these different things in there. And they did it through Hulk, they did it through Thor and Captain America, and they just kept doing it. They kept building it to an overall arc story of like where Kevin Feige would meet with directors, meet with writers, and meet with the cast, like, casting and stuff. And he would just basically give them the skeleton of the story. So when he met with James Gunn about Guardians of the Galaxy, he said, we can't get the rights back to Fantastic Four, but we've got characters that are in the cosmic side of Marvel that we'd like to bring to life. Do you want to do one of like a group of them. And James Gunn came back with his pitch of like, yeah, we'll do Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. And Kevin Feige said, great, get writing it. It needs to be about this sphere. And it has to have a Infinity Stone in it. It has to revolve around that. We need our main character to be, Peter Quill, the leader of the Guardians and stuff. We need to touch on Gamora being the daughter of Thanos. We need Drax in there as well. We need like Rocket Raccoon and Groot and stuff. And James Gunn managed to put that together and stuff. So it all collabed and coincided with all these Infinity Stones coming together. But just before Infinity War, they told that committee, go away. Great job, guys, but you're all done. And they said, well, like, why are you doing this? The main guy, Ike Perlmutter, who owned all the most shares, he pretty much owned Marvel. He owned all the shares and stuff to Marvel. He was the one that put that committee together of all the diehard Marvel fans and stuff, and basically said, get to work. Let's see if we can get this universe up and running. Disney turned around and said, we're going to disband that and we're going to put together our own committee of diverse and very unique writers and stuff. It's not going to be just all boys. It's not going to be all white males and stuff. And this is pretty much, you can see where Marvel went from just making money, all these projects that had a Marvel title on it, like just films and stuff, all just making so much money. And then it starts to take this dip and starts to not make money and not get ratings and not have sell out cinemas and stuff and become box office flops. And it was like, well, when did all this started? It's like, well, it's when you got rid of the diehards who were trying to write for fans, and you said, we're going to bring in our own guys and girls, and we're going to make it a very, very unique freaking, collaboration of all these different like peoples from all walks of life and stuff. And it's like, no, I think if you kept the fans that were writing for the fans who've read the comics, and you're basically converting people who are watching these films and seeing such a great story and such a great development of a character that stays true to the comic, and you're turning this audience into comic readers, and then all of a sudden you turn around and say, yeah, we're going to make like Captain Marvel, a character not anyone was really asking for. We're going to we're going to bring in like Agatha, Heart of Darkness, House of Darkness. Like, who the hell was like asking for those films? And then they said, like, yeah, we got Shang-Chi. We've got this Asian superhero guy and stuff based around the Ten Rings. And I'm like, I don't, like, no one was asking for that. That was never on the table in the playground with kids saying, yeah, I can't wait to see Agatha. I can't wait to see this and that.
Can I interject, Stan? Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
With Agatha and all of that, if you cater to the minority, you're going to get the minority's reviews, the minority's money. Unfortunately, it's the definition of minority. So if you're going to cater to that audience, it's going to be worth nothing to you. So Agatha, I did actually watch it, not paid for it because I wouldn't. But yeah, it's interesting because I do meet those people that would probably watch this in everyday life, but they're a minority. So yeah, never ever going to do very well. Never ever, because the majority's sitting back and being like, that's not worth my time.
Yep.
So, but where does it all come from? Who's pushing it? Because we're not. I'm not.
And here's where I'm at with David Zaslav.
And Captain Marvel's horrible. Sorry, can I just say that? Waste of my fucking time.
I never watched
that whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't watch all of it. Didn't watch the latest one. But the whole female protagonist, is that the right word? And it's all emotional and it's all, that's not comic books.
Yeah.
Go away. Anyway, but yeah. But sorry, that cut you off.
No, it's all like, when I found out like Thor Ragnarok was originally supposed to be Thor, and I think you've seen Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I saw Ragnarok. That was the retro one.
Yeah. Oh,
I liked the retro one because of the theme and the
yep.
music, and it had the comedic value. Is that the right wording
Yep.
used for that? Like I really enjoyed it. And then not Pirates of the Caribbean girl. Later on, Love and whatever the hell that was.
Love and Thunder.
Her name's gonna Love and Thunder. Yeah, what's her name? Natalie Portman. Is
Natalie
that right?
Portman.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, horrible.
Mm.
Delete the movie. Put it in the bin. You
Yep.
ruined it. Um, Ragnarok had the Hulk being, you know, whoever the hell that Bruce Banner was being on that planet, which was hilarious. It was the funniest thing. It was a trash world, literally trash, and he's the king. He's the guy, the angriest dude's got all this respect that he's got, and it was done pretty well. Like the theme was good. Um, and even the guy, the Kiwi, the blue Kiwi guy that always was
Meek.
like, "Oh, hey, bro,"
Yeah.
like they they catered to, well, my audience, me. I was just like, yeah, that's funny. I liked that. That was good.
Yeah.
So we're still talking about it, right? We talk about Ragnarok. We're like, yeah, that wasn't a bad movie, And I think I went and saw that at the movies. Fairly certain.
Yeah. 28,
I did, yeah.
2017. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
think that'd be
November.
about right. I think 2016, 2017, I haven't really seen a lot of movies past that time period because this hasn't been any blockbuster. I want to see it on the big screen, worthy of my time.
Yeah.
So,
That Thor Love and Thunder, that was not supposed to be Natalie Portman's version of Thor.
mm,
Like that female Thor only came in like 2014, 2015 when the whole DEI thing was ramping up. And the comic book didn't sell, it bombed, and then they said, well, let's put that into the film. And it's like, well, why did you do that? Because there's so many other successful comic characters that you could have put in there. So Beta Ray Bill, he's a character that he's trying to save his people. So he's on a ship. He's turned into a cybernetic type horse type creature, and he's basically supposed to be guarding his ship, trying to find him a new world. And Thor sees the ship coming for Asgard, and so he goes onto the ship, and he's just like, "This is going to crash into Asgard. I don't know whether to destroy it." And then he's looking, and he's seeing all these people in these stasis pods, and he's like, "This is weird." And then all of a sudden, Beta Ray Bill comes out of nowhere, like Terminator mode, and just starts fighting Thor. And Thor throws his hammer at him to like freaking, smash his head in. And Beta Ray Bill just catches it and throws it right back at him. And Thor's just like, "What the F? He can wield Mjolnir. That's that's insane. He's worthy." And then he goes and tells Odin, and Odin's just like going, "All right, what is your mission? What are you doing here, Beta Ray Bill?" And he's just like, "I got to protect my people and stuff." And this guy attacked my ship, and it's like, it wasn't attacking his ship. Your ship's on a collision course with Asgard. Like, we need you to kind of book. And so Thor turns around and says, "All right, look, if you're trying to protect your people and Mjolnir can be wielded by you, then here, take it. Like, take it on your quest." And that's when Odin goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. Everyone, let's just calm the frick down. Like, do you need a weapon like this and stuff?" And he's like, "Well, it would help." So Odin goes to the dwarven race that built Mjolnir and says, "Hey, can you build this dude a freaking a weapon that's just as powerful as Mjolnir?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure. Here's Stormbreaker." So when that's said in Avengers Infinity War, and you hear when they're like going to build Thor a new hammer and axe, basically, and it's like, "What's this called?" And he goes, "Stormbreaker." And you watch online, there's YouTube clips of people who've recorded the reaction in the cinema, and everyone just goes, "Whoa, like this means Beta Ray Bill's coming." Eventually down the line, Thor's going to be giving Beta Ray Bill Stormbreaker. We come to Thor Love and Thunder, And it's just like, no, no, Beta Ray Bill. We're just going to go with Lady Thor. You know, the comic that failed? Not the Beta Ray Bill ones that have stood for like decades. Like, we're going to go with Lady Thor. And then the movie bombs. And it's like, well, what happened? Oh, all the fans and audience must be racist and sexist and just, they must not be into this stuff. And it's like, no, you're just trying to force feed us something that we weren't interested in. That's why we're not showing up for this. So, like David Zaslav in charge of Warner Brothers, um, he scrapped Batgirl, the Batwoman movie. That was finished. That was filmed, done, set, ready to release. It had Michael Keaton in it as a support character, and he said, "No, this is horrible. No one's going to pay to see this. We might as well cut our losses right now and not spend money on advertising and promoting and pushing it out into theaters where no one's going to show up to watch it." He ended up scrapping it, and he was just like, "We're $50 billion in debt. All right, we get the investors are asking what the hell's going on." Like, the shareholders are like saying, what's happening? The investors are not giving us any more money. It's all dried up. What are we supposed to do? And David Zaslav's like, all right, that's it. I'm the power of God now. We're scrapping all this crap. We're gonna fire all these committees. We're gonna get rid of all this crap. We're gonna have to start a clean slate. Let's get a Harry Potter show going, TV, HBO series going. Um, let's get another Lord of the Rings. Call up Peter Jackson right now. Get him on the phone and say, pitch us your ideas because we need to get a Lord of the Rings film. We've got the film rights, so we need to get that going and stuff. Hey, James Gunn, do you want to reboot a DC universe? We need to make this $1 billion money making company again. And then all of a sudden it comes up that Warner Brothers is up for sale. And it's like, kind of, oh, this is why he was trying to put a little bit more glaze on the company to show like, hey, look at all what we've got. Look at all everything we've got in the pipeline. Look at all the money that's going to be rolling in and stuff. Don't worry about this debt thing over here. Like, worry about this. Like, we're going to be rolling in the money. Superman comes
Is that a
out.
good thing though, Stan?
Well,
Is it a good thing though? Because when things change hands, we spoke about the Saudis buying out EA.
yeah.
Like maybe it is, maybe they're what's wrong with things. The people that want to buy it probably are the ones that are like you and me that are probably like, yeah, we know what we need to do to make this profitable again. So yeah, we will buy it, but we're not paying what you want. That's for sure. We'll turn it into something wonderful, and then you'll be sitting there in the corner at those parties at the end of the year, and and people will be talking about all of our movies and our shows and what we've done to Warner Brothers or HBO or whatever you want to talk about. Because realistically, we're coming out of that phase. It's been slow, it's been gradual, and COVID really, really, really did not help anything. But I honestly think we're on that trajectory. We're up the trend, and it is sort of they've come to their senses. They've realised that where's the money? The money's over there. The money's not here. It's what's DEI? Like, why are we catering to minorities? There's no money with minorities. That's why they're a minority. You should be catering to the percentage of the population that will pay to go see this. Make their movie, make their TV series, go to the fans, the diehard fans, But anyway, I've waffled on about that before, so I'm not going to keep bringing it back up. But honestly, South Park,
Hey,
every time something happens and they're on that bandwagon, which is just society is stupid. But yeah,
it's it's just a little bit odd that I'll give you this. Um, and like, make no mistake about it, it's all about money. It's all about like where's the cash, where's the profit. We'll spend money to make money, but in the last 5 to 10 years, it's just been We need the face of the company to look like it's very fair and very just to society and everything and stuff. So it's just turned into this, you're not hiring the right people to do the best job. You're casting people to make your company look presentable to a checkbox, basically. And it just, it felt as if half these directors and half these writers that were brought onto these projects who said, well, I never used to read these comics, I was never into these comic things and stuff. Now we're seeing the Russo brothers were brought back to make this next Doomsday movie, and they were going on about how when they made Captain America the Winter Soldier, or Captain America Civil War, or Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, and they were always saying when we were kids, we would always have like the Spider-Man poster up on the wall and the Captain America like kind of shield sitting over here and stuff. They grew up as fans, and they're just like, look, we know what this is all about. We were part of that fandom. We know what we're doing and stuff. So to kind of see like they're done with the, oh, check it out, we got this female director making Captain Marvel. Oh, check it out, 90% of our production team were all diverse, like hires and stuff and everything. And all the stuff's coming out about the TV show Willow that got made. Kathleen Kennedy, everyone's favorite producer and president of Lucasfilm, she spent like something ridiculous, like $147 million for like 8 episodes of this Willow show, or 6 episodes, whatever it was. And then Disney Plus, like Disney just pulled it off Disney Plus. They said, we'll take the tax write off because no one at all is watching this. And it's just bad writing and just bad like dialogue and stuff. And it's just all about white males bad and female empowerment and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I think the amount of money that's been blown, like I think it came out that Rise of Skywalker and all that was costing over $500 million to make. And I was just like, how much did the original Star Wars movies cost? Barely under 50 million. Like, and that was back in the 70s, and that made what's the equivalent to like $3 billion. Like it's just turned into this really odd sort of like I don't want to call them bean counters and weathermen dressed in suits that haven't got a clue what's going on, but there was, I don't know if you remember, like it used to be, the wrestling thing used to be the WWF and WCW. There's a guy named Eric Bischoff who used to run WCW for Turner Broadcasting, TBS, and then they merged with CNN. And Eric Bischoff said, when I'm running this wrestling company and everything, and we're like poaching wrestlers from WWF, and we're bringing in celebrities like Dennis Rodman, and bringing on all these like different stars and stuff, and getting mainstream media jumping on board to watch us and stuff. He goes, yeah, so the merger happens, and I get summoned to the executive's big office, CNN or whatever it was. And he said, when I go up there, I'm not wearing a suit. He's like, I wore my basic cowboy boots, my jeans. I rode in there on my motorbike, on my Harley. And so he gets there, and he walks in, and there's this boardroom of people I've never seen before. He goes, I would always directly talk to and work with Ted Turner, the owner of everything, because he has a love for wrestling. And he was just like, I haven't got time to run it, dude. You need to run it for me. So he goes into this boardroom, and they turn around and start telling him how he's going to start running his wrestling show, WCW Nitro. And he goes, okay, we've been winning in the ratings. We've been getting like 3 million, 4 million viewers every like week, and all our stars, all our wrestlers and stuff, like we're doing a great job. Why do you want us to change and stuff? They said, we want you to go more family. And he's just like, why? And they're like, well, we just think a PG product would be much better. And he goes, all right, let me ask you, everyone can be asked this, because he's like sitting in this room with 20 executives in this meeting, in this boardroom. And he goes, all right, so can anyone raise their hand and just tell me what night is Nitro on, WCW Nitro on? What night is that show airing? And what time is it airing? And they're all just like kind of just, they're just baffled. They don't know. And so they're like, that's not the point. Eric, what we need here is for you to bring this to more PG programming. And he said, so can I explore this for a bit? You're asking me to make it more kid friendly and stuff, and we've got guys pretending to punch each other in the face and throw each other out of the ring, and have backstage brawls and stuff. You're telling me I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that and stuff. He's like, you're basically telling me to do a running race, and you're tying my shoelaces together, and you're handcuffing me, and you're blindfolding me and saying, quick, win the race. This makes no sense. We're doing great in the ratings. The process has been working for the last 5 years. Why do you want me to change this now? What is the point of this? And they were just like going, look, we're impressed with the numbers. We're happy with what you're doing. We just think you can do better. And that's when he was just like, kind of, all right, I'll see you guys later. He goes back and has this meeting with all the wrestlers, and he just basically says to them, you all need to find work somewhere else, because within the next 2 years, this place is going to be out of business. This company will be up for sale and will be out of business. And like less than a year later, he had quit. And then less than a year later after that, they were asking him to come back. And he was like wanting to do the I told you so. And so they did convince him to come back. As soon as he came back, they announced that they're selling the company. And he was just like, this, like, I told you, I said to you guys for like, a good 2 years ago, this will not work. What you're about to change is about to, like, put your hand in the water. Can you feel that? The water's gotten a little bit colder. We've hit an iceberg, and it's called management, and it's not, it's just going to sink this ship now. So WCW goes out of business, gets bought out by the WWF, that becomes WWE. And there's been all these documentaries now on what went wrong with WCW, what went wrong with, like, all of this and that. And Eric Bischoff is like, I can tell you exactly what happened, the merger. And you had executives that just did not, people in suits who have never actually gotten their hands dirty in this business. They've just sat there and looked at numbers and margins and just thought, hey, can we change that? Can we do something different with that and stuff? And it was just basically a play toy for them to move around and to try and be like, oh yeah, because Eric Bischoff said that WCW, Nitro, and wrestling was the bastard child of that network. Anytime those big executive conferences and stuff, when they said, what's your highest rating show on your network, on your cable network? And they're just like, oh, wrestling. And it's like, all right, so how much money does that get put into it? And they're like, oh, about 5 to 6 million. And how much profit does it make? 20 million. And it's like, oh, all right, so how much did you put into this freaking TV drama film that you're making that's just won a Academy Award or something? They're like, oh, we put in 50 million into it. And it's like, and how much did it make? And it's like, oh, about 20. So it's like, you took a $30 million loss just so you could jerk yourselves off over some Cable Ace Awards, and stuff. It's sort of that I don't see that house standing with management that's just blatantly like, well, we want to have one of those awards so we can put it on display. I think any company with Warner Brothers, and like you sort of see it with Disney, like, yes, they've got the parks to bring in revenue and stuff so they can burn money like in certain areas and stuff, but when you have them saying we need something to be the face of this, like there's this, I think you've seen Avengers Endgame, I
Yeah.
think. There's that scene at the end where it shows all the women, all the Marvel women are all together when they're doing the hot potato with the Infinity Gauntlet. All the women get together and fight.
Yeah.
So there was a scrapped storyboard of that. So you remember the original Avengers movie where it has the spiral around Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. The big spiral camera shot, the spinning camera shot, that was supposed to be replicated in Avengers Endgame. So when all those freaking Marvel characters like come through the Doctor Strange teleport and stuff, and they're all lining up, and Captain America yells, "Avengers, assemble!" And they all do the big battle charge and stuff. And it's got Hawkeye running with the gauntlet. He's not passing it to Black Panther. He's not passing it to them straight away. He's about to get attacked. And then, bam, Iron Man stops it. Bam, Thor stops it. Captain America. And they do the same spiral shot of the original Avengers. But then it shows Hawkeye. He ends up dropping it and it gets caught by Groot. And Groot grabs it. And then they do a spiral off the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then freaking it gets like, thrown again. It goes to Spider-Man and it spirals around Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Black Panther, the Wasp, like all the new characters and stuff. And then it goes like, to all like it just keeps doing this spiral of look at the evolution of the Marvel universe and stuff. But they scrapped that because oh, we need a female empowered moment where they're all the women for some reason in the midst of this battle stop and all get together, and you're just like, what? Why did you do that? Oh, it was for display to show inclusion and equality and all that stuff. And it's like, was it worth it? Did you like that, or did that kind of like that take you out of the movie? Like you snapped out of it. Like, why did they? Why the hell did they do that? Like that's weird. But yeah, it
Oh,
feels
we
as
know
if,
why.
well, yeah, it's to please some sensitivity committee that turned around and said you need to put this in there. Like freaking, I I don't dismiss a HR department or like something that is there to help keep everyone aware of, by the way, we've got to remember this stuff. But when it starts to affect the art, when it's,
Well, I think that the underlining theme, and it really, if I could summarize it in one go, is we can be tolerant.
yeah,
That is fine. But you can't change our minds in that way. I'm okay with it, but it doesn't mean that my opinion's changed of it. So showing tolerance is very different than forgot the other half of what I was going to say just then, but you sort of catch my drift.
I know, yeah,
We don't need it on the screen. We can be tolerant. That's fine. We can accept it, in everyday life, but we don't have to accept it in movies and TV shows.
yeah,
We've got to deal with that in everyday life. I don't want it. I don't want it in the fairy tale. I don't want it in the escape when I game, when I watch things. I don't want it in there because I have to wake up every morning and deal with it. So why are you pushing it into my own time, my unwind time, the time of, the day that I get to enjoy something? You've now ruined it. I'm tolerant during the day. I'm not tolerant at nighttime. I'm not tolerant in the afternoon when I'm trying to unwind. When I want to go see a movie with my friends, when I want to talk about it, when I want to have a good conversation about things. I think that's where they lost sight of, well, the minority, because the majority hasn't pushed this by any means. So
So it's something where this is going to cross the boards as well. So we're talking about Warner Brothers selling, and there has been franchises that are not doing so well and not making money to the point where they're getting. Um, no, it should be all right, Kitty. Thanks. Um, just sun kiss, please, with the gin. Thanks, Kitty. So if we look across the boards, yes. I was going to ask you, what are you munching? Because it looks good. Um,
I couldn't help myself. I messaged said he was like, "Hey, it's that time of the night where I'm getting a bit hungry."
but yeah, so like it's been across the boards with how many franchises has this happened to? Um, we've seen with Star Wars. Thanks, bub. You're cute. Tap.
Take it back, woman. It's not mixed correctly.
Oh God!
I asked for the 3-to-1 ratio.
She was
What
generous.
Is this 2-to-1?
The gin was generous in that one. Jeez, I was trying to take a gulp so I don't spill it. But yeah. So we looked at Star Wars and they dismissed bringing. Thanks, bub. Bringing Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker back together on screen because it would take away from Rey, the main lead female character.
Oh, the lame lead female character that nobody likes. That's
Yep.
right. I remember her now.
Yep. And then
Also, I don't, because she's a nothing character and she's deleted in my brain. But continue.
so then we're looking at like Doctor Who. They changed the Doctor to a female character, and I don't watch Doctor Who. Haven't seen Tron.
Oh man, you're gonna wind me up if you start talking about Doctor Who and what they've done recently. This is a whole complete conversation that I can dedicate my time to, Stam. And it's pissed me off. It's pissed me off. But anyway, continue.
Look, I've had mates throughout the years just say to me, no, I haven't seen Tron. I don't know if I want to because it's scaring me about people saying about how it's. I love Jeff Bridges. I think it was awesome, and he's apparently not really in it that much and stuff. But like, I did like Tron Legacies. Legacy was good, but anyway, yeah. So I had a mate like just drilling me about you got to watch Doctor Who. You got to watch it. This is back in 2009, 2010. Nowadays, he's like, don't watch it, dude. Do not watch it because what's happened with it is just a big F you to the fan base. And I was like, really? They went that far with it? And he goes, oh, dude, it's horrible.
Oh yeah, no, Doctor Who. Doctor, what the fuck is it?
Yeah.
Doctor Transgender. Like literally, there was a transgender doctor which that tanked like pretty hard, and then the female one, I can get on board. I honestly, I love a good female boss. I love a good, let's change it up a bit. Let's have a good female doctor. That's fine. They took it too far. They started like altering the fundamentals again. They started swapping the foundations out. And I'm like, no, the foundation, you can't swap that out. That's what the house is built on. don't do that, you know. And I don't know what they were thinking, but when I loaded up Doctor Who, I forget actually when this started happening. It was that long ago now. I completely dropped off. They lost me. Like, yeah, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't sit there and watch the, um, well, the underlying transgender and the gay themes, the LGBT, I don't know, HDMI, whatever the hell it is now, which is all the
Yeah.
same thing, just repeated over and over and over again. It's, hey, you're not normal.
Yeah.
What is normal, and that's what really shits me, because it's just like, oh no, this is normal. It's just like, no, what's normal is what the majority of the population is. That is by process of elimination, but also statistics. Statistics say that if more than 89, well, not, I don't know what it is though, but I'm sure it's over 90% of the population does this or says this or agrees with this, then that is the norm. That's how statistics form. Like, honestly, I'm bewildered by it, because the amount of money, if you really look at it, because it's all about money at the end of the day, you know, they made it not about money. And look at it. Doctor Who's dropped off entirely. You know, it's gone are the days. You know, and you would have to really, really, really revamp it. But the UK is screwed. Like, what they're doing, how they're doing it, like, there's nothing good coming out of there. So, yeah. Anyway.
Like that's where I was like sort of just hearing like from just different parties, different friends and stuff going like, and this is over the years. This is before all this stuff started happening. They said, yeah, there was a rumor that they were going to make the Doctor a female, and then his instead of her being a female, what is her name? What are they called? Escort or something? Um,
Yeah, the tag
Companion.
along.
Is it what is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of her being a
Oh, I
female
don't know if it's
companion, it'll be a
companion, but
male
yeah.
companion. I was like, well, that's kind of a cool concept and stuff. Then all this stuff happens, and I'm like, hearing about they've completely changed the origin stuff. They've gone back. They've just it's like being written by people who just don't understand Doctor Who. And I was like, wow, really? Oh, should I still watch it? And they're like, no, stay away from it. It's too heartbreaking. And I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of like Star Wars. And they're like, yeah, Star Wars fans got effed and Doctor Who fans got effed. Rings of Power comes out, the Lord of the Rings Amazon series. That takes freaking just like it apparently flips everything and makes it so stupid to have like I don't know, like Saruman's misunderstood, or they just have
Is he good? Is he bad? Is he on a
is he
journey? Who
misunderstood?
knows?
Like,
No, he's just the bad guy at the end of it. And it's just like, why the fuck sorry, pardon my French.
no,
Why did you bring us along this journey when we already knew what the outcome was going to be? If you were going to bring us on the journey, at least have a different outcome at the end of it. But no, it is just the same outcome, which we all knew was happening. But for a moment there, we were thinking, geez, he's good. You know, you've really, what are you doing? Like, he is not the good guy. Like, this is not an origin story, like, because that's not how you do this. It's a completely different series if you were going to do that. But yeah, anyway.
but like just seeing like so they flipped it with Rings of Power as well. Like they had their committees come in and do this and that. Then we see Star Trek as well, just Star Trek Discovery and stuff. Just I heard Strange New Worlds. The writers are coming out just being like, "Look, we got this idea from Buffy to have all the characters dancing and singing and stuff," and I'm like,
No, it's lame. I'm a die. I love Star Trek. Stan and you are Stacy. I've watched like most of the new stuff. The only new Star Trek they got right was the Picard um,
season three,
offshoot.
season
They
three,
did
we watched
Picard.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Yep.
skipped we watched the first season. We sort of skipped the second season because we were a bit put off from the first season. Then I got told
Yep.
the third series is excellent. They bring it back, and I'm
Yep.
like, "Are you serious?" And then
They really did.
I
Yeah.
found out about the third season. So all the committees and everyone effed off. They fucked off, and they turned around and went. They left it with this other guy. You can be the showrunner. You can write it. You can do whatever you want. We don't care. We're off to go make Star Trek Academy. And he was like, okay, this guy who was making it, he was working on Star Trek Voyager. He was one of the OG people from where Next Gen and DS9 and Voyager came from. So he was there with the whole Gene Roddenberry kind of, he understood it. So he was there tasked to make season 3. And I remember, like, just when you see all of them on that bridge together and they're launching out the freaking, I was just like, thank you. That's all you had to do. That's all we wanted. You didn't have to, you know, make it all freaking like, yeah, we don't need this freaking masculine like BS or whatever crap it was. Like, I just,
They they had a horror themed. I forget what her name. Uh, was it season 3? Um, not that she wasn't Borg, was she? The Queen, whatever it was. I can't remember
season,
now.
I think it was season, it was season
Was
2.
that what you
No,
skipped?
season
Yeah,
1 was the Borg Queen, I think. No, it was season
yeah, because
3. It was season 3.
yeah,
Yeah, she was there.
because they did those scenes really well. Like it was just good. Like I enjoyed it. It was borderline horror. Like I brought that up earlier on in the piece. You know, like if you want to win hearts and minds, you know, make it scary. Don't make it DEI. Just make it scary. You you'll always yeah. Anyway,
I legitimately not like on the edge of my seat, but I was like fascinated with like what the hell's on the other side of the door? Like why is he freaking out so bad and stuff? And then it's like opens it up, you see the cube, and I'm like, oh, all right. Well, the sins of the father are now affecting the son. But that cliffhanger where it shows Seven of Nine is now a captain and freaking Picard's son is on the ship and stuff as well. And I'm just like, oh god, they're doing a freaking new offshoot spin-off. This is gonna be cool. And then they scrapped it and said, no, we're not gonna do that. And the fans were like, what's going on? Like, we were back. This was awesome. What are we getting? They're like, no. You want Star Trek Academy. You want this. And we're like, no, we don't. I'm sorry, but you're putting out something to just be a face of your production and not actually good quality, you know, production, like, you know, fan service and stuff. Like it was just a really you really yeah, it's such a weird sort of time now where it's kind of the money's gone now. The investor money's gone, and a lot of these studios are like, we need to get back to basics now. It's like now you're actually like, we're not going to see anything really that good for like 2 years now because they've only just started to be like, yep, we don't need the we don't need the sensitivity committees. We don't need the DI committees. We just need great artists making their art, making their work, not having to deal with studio notes, saying, now remember to put in this and remember to check this, like, you know, tick this checkbox and everything. So it just, this is why I'm like kind of not surprised with the whole Warner Brothers kind of sale and stuff. It's going to be interesting. I think by December, David Zaslav said, because Universal is now saying that they're really interested. And if Paramount, the rumor goes is that Paramount isn't willing to the terms and conditions, and apparently the terms and conditions were if you buy us, you have to let James Gunn continue running DC Studios. And they're apparently like, oh, so how much did the Superman movie make? Not that much. It broke even. Okay, nah, sorry, we're getting rid of him. And I think James Gunn, all he had to do was say, he didn't have to say we're doing Creature Commandos and we're doing you know, this, what the hell was it, Peacemaker season 2 that didn't rate at all. No one watched it. And on top of that, doing all this other like Amanda Waller series and all this Booster Gold and stuff. All he had to do was say, we're doing 3 big movies, 3 massive ones, and they're all coming out within the next like 12 months. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. We're doing the Trinity, and then we're going to follow that up with sequels that will introduce potentially like, or he could have still said, yeah, we're going to do a Green Lantern TV series. We're going to do a potential like potential Flash kind of TV movie or something. Like everyone's still got the bad taste in their mouths from Ezra Miller and stuff, but just
Not a good Flash.
yeah,
Horrible.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I just was kind of like
It
the
ruined it. Every time I associate the Flash now, it's just like, why? Why did you poorly cast? Well, why did you change the character? Like you changed the fundamentals of that character though to
and
suit the person, not the actual character.
you know that's another thing too. When they cast that freaking Ezra Miller, and the rumor was on the table that Sean William Scott, who played Stifler from American Pie, he was
Hmm.
apparently tapped to be playing a freaking Wally West or Barry Allen as the
Can you
Flash.
imagine? Can you imagine? That would have been 1,000% better, even if it was anyway.
But it just it felt really weird. Like, and this is something where, as much as I believe David Zaslav is trying to do the right thing and trying to self correct before he sells it off, hearing that this Harry Potter series is coming and they cast Snape, Professor. I don't know if you've seen the Harry Potters.
Well, the lead up to we haven't even seen this series, but it's been in and out of the news about what's happening in the cast and lawsuits and all this. I don't even know what's fake news and what's real news, but the fact that that's happening is because they're trying to fuck with a very large fan base. Like it's fucking huge.
Yeah,
And people are not happy about it. They're like, and what's her name?
Emma
The
Watson,
no, the author of
J.K. Rowling.
yeah, and that Emma Watson thing, we discussed that not too long ago. You know, like Harry Potter is like up there for the fan base. Like if you were going to talk about what has the biggest following, even in the new generations of like that, I would say Marvel versus Harry Potter. You're going to find a Harry Potter fan over a Marvel fan. That's just unfortunately the newer gen that it caters for, and that's fine because they're doing it well. But they're on the precipice of fucking it if they're not careful. And if it is true, and J.K. Rowling and pushing back Emma Watson being the little girl that she is, you know, that is a moneymaker for starters, but it's enjoyable. Don't fuck with it. Don't ruin it. And I hope to God that, yeah, they hold on to it and fight it tooth and nail because it's not wise. It is not wise to mess with such a huge fan base.
And I remember there was this whole apparent massive boycott that's coming for Hogwarts Legacies, the game launching. There's going to be this huge boycott, and there's going to be protests on not buying it and stuff. And it gets launched and becomes one of the highest selling games of the year. It gets all these different like sales records and stuff, and I'm like,
It was
yeah,
actually pretty
right on.
good. Like
Yeah,
I got on it straight away. Open world Harry Potter, true to the law, everything was in it. And it was like, yeah, it was good. I was thinking about picking it up again the other day and starting from scratch because it's been a while, because it was just good. It was Harry Potter,
Yeah.
open world. I like that.
I just remember like hearing like stuff about people streaming it and they were playing it and people jumping into their chat and just cursing him out and saying like you're a transphobe and just calling them names and stuff, and they're just like, dude, leave me alone. We're just playing a game. We're banning you now. And it's like, I'll never jump in the stream ever again. It's like, okay, bye. And then they make a new account and they come back and they still curse them out. And it's like, you really must have nothing else better in life to do than to make another account just so you can go in there and bitch about how you'll never follow their stream again. It's like, dude, I'm living rent free in your head, and I don't care, like, what your little issues are and stuff, because the creator of this rubs you the wrong way, and I'm playing what they're and supporting what they're putting out for me. But like when they cast Black Snape, and I said to Rogue Kitty Cat, I was like, this is really odd because it fundamentally
Mm.
changes the character now. Because Snape was
Hmm.
picked on in school by Harry's father and his group of friends. So by
Yep.
making him a black character now and having his father pick on him and treat like garbage, like what message is being sent there now? Because it's not Alan Rickman playing a Snape and stuff. And then there was all this talk about like why didn't they get that Adam Drover, the guy who played Kylo Ren from the new Star Wars? Should have got him to play Snape,
Mm.
or you could have got cast a brand new person. Like,
Listen. He probably would have made a good Snake just on appearances and I guess how he presents himself. He probably could have played a young Snake really, really well.
yeah,
I'll be honest with you. Like I didn't like him in Star Wars very much, but that was because he just wasn't cast correctly, and it was all just a whole load of horseshit. But he could actually come into his own as a yeah. Honestly, I can see it. Yeah.
I yeah, I don't mean to just keep bitching about it and stuff, but like just if you don't mind, like we can jump over to this whole thing. Speaking on games and stuff, was there anything
Halo.
else you wanted to touch on with Warner Brothers sale, or you think we've covered most of
No,
it and stuff?
I'm interested to see where it goes, but Halo's a big talking topic, especially to end the night if you're getting close to midnight. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and
Sorry to hold you up
I'll
so
be
long,
honest with
dude.
Oh no! I'm doing all right. I haven't drunk as much as I should because I
Yeah.
had some chippies brought to me, which helped. But Halo, if you jump online, you jump on a Reddit forum, you'll see what people think. You'll hear what people think, and realistically, it's all about trying to get, building on the base. You want more people playing Halo, but I was never able to rationalize why people would limit themselves to one console because I appreciate all and every different controller, every different game. If it came out exclusive on PlayStation, I'm saving up to buy a PlayStation. And that would be what I'd be putting my pocket money towards, just like Xbox and whatnot. It was never for me. It was like, oh no, I've got a PlayStation, I don't have Xbox. It's like, no, I'm a gamer. I'm going to play the games that I want to play, and this whole it's upsetting that it's taken away. Xbox has been trending down for a while. Microsoft, how they handle Xbox Live, PlayStation is ahead of them in, I wouldn't say by much, but definitely more. Like I find myself playing PlayStation more than I do. I haven't started my Xbox one. I've got an Xbox X. I'd say 8 months since I played a game on that. I've played everything's moved to PC, so I play Xbox on PC and PS5. PS5's got great games, good remasters. Tomb Raider's an example of that. Um, yeah, they're doing well in that space, and there's nothing coming out of Xbox like Microsoft. I can't see shit. Like this is their only. Well, it's not even because what Bungie. Um, oh, that's a whole nother conversation how all that happened. But
Oh
you
man, that's
know,
a whole show.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. We can't dive down that rabbit hole. But you know, like everybody was looking forward to Halo coming to PC.
Hmm.
That was really what we were after because we were limited. A lot of purists were limited by hardware too. So PCs has its own nuances, but it's also where we saw it all going. But the cross-platform, that's been years now. Cross-play. It doesn't matter whether you're playing on an Xbox or a PlayStation or a PC or a Nintendo. Like you're all in the same server now. So what are you really gaining? The only thing that's different is the controller you've got in your hand. Like that is it. And I'll be honest with you, I really like the Xbox controller. I like the PlayStation controller because it does have the haptics in it, which is really cool, and it's got the touchpad. But that's the nuances between the two. But at the moment, I'm buying whatever game's the cheapest on which platform. So if I'm looking at Steam, I look at Xbox and I look at PlayStation. If it's $20 cheaper or $10 cheaper or whatever, like hopefully no one sells me out. But I didn't pay for Outer Worlds 2, and I'm playing Outer Worlds 2, and because of that, I bought Outer Worlds 2, but I didn't pay for it when I started playing it because I wasn't too sure you know, where I wanted it to land and where I wanted to spend my money. But now I've decided, nah, perfect. I can wait for Xbox Live, like for Outer Worlds 2, and I'm okay with that because it's a good game. It's not bad, you know. Anyway, I'll let you go. I'll let you have your piece on it.
I just because I had a chat with a friend yes last night actually. We were chatting away about this, and he actually was the one that I showed up at his house 25 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying that. And he,
25's a long time.
yeah, it was 2000 or 2001, whatever it was, and he's just like, Stan, look at this. Check this out. And he's showing me the option screen of Halo. He goes, look, the ring's world surface is on like the inside of this ring. I was like, that's crazy. And him and my mate Tom they were playing it co-op, and I was watching it just like so fascinated. I'm like, God, this is so insane, dude. Like, but I had to bounce. I had to leave. I can't remember why, but I really didn't want to. So I ended up catching up with them in the morning. I was like, hey, how'd it go? Like, did you end up playing it through some more? And they were like, yeah, dude, we kind of got a bit spooked by it. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? They're like, it takes a drastic turn. And they were talking about the flood being introduced to it. And it
Mm.
was just this creepy concept. And that was when I decided, because everyone's got to remember, like, we've been around long enough to have lived through, like, the best explanation for it is like, yes, we're here in Perth. You're either a Dockers fan or an Eagles fan. Like you can be a Ford fan or a Holden fan, or you could be like, you've got your teams. So back in the day, you were either Nintendo or Sega, or you were
Mm.
PlayStation or the Xbox. You were either Marvel or DC. You were Star Wars or Star Trek. You couldn't bounce between teams. You had your team that you were on, and you had to, you know, pump it up and talk it up and stuff. So at that point, I'd owned a Sega Master System 2, I'd owned a Super Nintendo, I'd owned a PlayStation, the first PlayStation, and then the PlayStation 2 was coming out and the Xbox was coming out. And I had a lot of friends that were saying, don't waste your time with the Xbox, it's no good. And I was like, have you played one yet? And they're like, no, but, stick with PlayStation, stay loyal to it. And then when my mate showed me Halo, I was like, damn, if that's what the standard
Mm.
of games are going to be like on this thing, I'm getting an Xbox. Went out and got an Xbox a couple of months later, and the LAN session started. with all of us linking up the Xboxes and all playing. Like, it was just the typical Friday, Saturday night. We're all loading up our cars with our TVs and stuff and going to friends' houses and going and like, when I moved into the townhouse with my roommates and stuff when I first moved out from my parents' place, we just had every room had an Xbox in it. And we're all in there playing freaking at the end of the night after going out drinking and partying and stuff. We're all like, let's all head home. Let's pass out. Wait, we'll get a game of Halo in before we freaking all pass out and stuff. And that was the flagship. That was the whenever you heard someone bought an Xbox, you knew they had a copy of Halo. And it soon kind of became this thing. I cannot wait for Halo 2. And it was just like this console seller. If you wanted to sell like the Xbox 360, you were promoting Halo 3 because everyone would be buying a 360 to buy Halo 3. Um, it just, it's such a weird thing because I remember this is what kind of when we were talking about as well, me and my mate Josh, last night. I said, remember when we found out that Tomb Raider was coming to the Xbox? And we were just like, wow, this is so weird. Like, Tomb Raider Lara Croft is on the Xbox. And then Perfect Dark was coming to the Xbox, which was a Nintendo thing. And we were just getting so baffled at like, would this all eventually like merge up and become like part of a big kind of like online sort of deal? Because we were like, we had friends who were on their PlayStations playing Call of Duty. Then we had our friends who were playing Call of Duty on the Xbox. And we were all like, what would it take to cross platform so you could have Xbox players versus PlayStation players? Wouldn't that be crazy? Now, like, with them announcing that whether you've got an Xbox, a PC, or a freaking PlayStation, cross platform playing Halo, that's going to be a possibility now. And I was like, that's freaking crazy. Like, we're living in this age now because I think they did it with Minecraft with crossplay with the Xbox and the Nintendo and PlayStation now, I think. But yeah, it's such an odd thing. I never thought I'd live to see this sort of happen
Mm.
and stuff. But like also too, like there's a little bit of a nervous part of me where I'm like, is this the signs of Microsoft throwing in the towel and being like, look, we've got Game Pass, we've got all Steam and stuff. We can just throw games on there, basically doing what Sega did and say we're just going to be a company that makes games because people are all playing it on PC anyway. Do
Yeah.
you really want to burn money making another console and stuff? But they've reassured us there's another Xbox console coming. But I'm just like, really?
It's cloud. It's been going towards cloud gaming for a while. That's why I bought shares in Pentanet when the Nvidia partnership when they've got the servers going here. I think they got 50 to 4080s in the servers in Perth and Sydney. It's no longer about PlayStation. It really hasn't been for a while. It's going to get to the stage where it's just the rights for games. It's going to be games only. You're looking at the game, and everybody is playing which game. Consoles, PlayStation, Nintendo, like they'll hold on to it for as long as they can, but it's going. It has been going for a while now, and it's the case with AI. It's the case with sustainability, or net zero. This is the new era. The new era is, that the go to the days where you pack up the TV, and you're taking it to your mate's house with consoles because now you've got too many options. I just said it before, I can play a game on 3 different platforms and I'm trying to find which one's the cheapest, because that's now a thing. Before it wasn't, it was no, if I want to play that game, I'm buying an Xbox to play Halo, you know, doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
So I guess it is a bit of a conceding to it, but also there's money being made. These things don't happen unless there's money to be made. That's the only reason, whether or not it's a sellout is up for debate. But realistically, we've all been talking about this for a very long time, but it was always in the sense of Halo coming to PC, and I actually forgot about it, the trajectory that it was on. But it made me laugh a bit when I saw it, because I look at Halo now and I don't associate Halo with the modern Halo. I watched the Halo series and they did that as a service. The Master Chief is supposed to be not it, masked is the word. The Master Chief should never be unmasked, because the whole concept behind Halo was that you couldn't put a face to that character, which means you got to become that character. But as soon as you associate with that person, and that's what they did with the Halo series, they took the mask off, and it's just like, well, I don't relate to this person,
Yeah.
but I related to Master Chief because it was an unknown. Nobody knew what was underneath there. We just knew that it was a modified child. I think that's in a nutshell, if you want to put it. But how they genetically engineered and blah blah blah. But that was, and if you go back and you generate that conversation about what made Master Chief, you know, I lost my train of thought, but you
No.
know where I
Have
was
you
going
read the
with it.
Fall of Reach
Yeah.
book?
No, I haven't.
I've
Because
got
I
it.
got into Halo after, because I was Sony, I was PlayStation, Nintendo, PlayStation, and then I jumped on Xbox once I realized why the fuck am I playing both of these sides again? Why don't I just play for the game?
Yeah.
You know? And that was fine, because I still got into Halo well and truly early enough for it. But I do regret being just so narrow minded with, I'm PlayStation, it's PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, obviously now. But I should have read, a few more things,
There's I asked my mate the other night, I said, because I haven't talked to him in like 6 months, I said, did you ever watch that Halo series? And he's like, what Halo series? I was like, the live action Halo series. He's like, there is no Halo series. I'm like, there's a Halo series. He goes, oh, you mean Talking in Hallways? And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, that's all that show is. Just talking in hallways. Nothing to do with Halo. And I was like, all right. And he just said, remember when, because he was the one who turned me over. This is in like 2002, 2003. He's like going, Tom just bought this book. It's a prequel to the Halo game called The Fall of Reach. He goes, he read it and just like came screaming at me saying, you have to read this, dude. And Josh was like, what is it? I don't know. And he was like, just read it, just read it. So Josh was trying to read it, I think, a couple of chapters before bed. And then all of a sudden he's looking out his curtain and it's daylight. And he realizes, oh, I've been up all night and all morning just reading this. He just got lost in it. But it's so insane what detail they went into in the book. It's Eric Nyland, his name is. He wrote the book, and like if you read it, this is just step by step of what that series should have been, or what a film should have been, where it is Dr. Halsey going to these schools with a Captain Keyes and finding these young kids, these primary school kids, and trying to find the ones that are, gifted athletes and all this stuff, and sees this one kid on top of the hill in the playground, and they're all playing King of the Hill, who can get to the hill, and this kid's throwing all the other kids off. He's like, I'm the King of the Hill. And it goes through to, she goes up to him, and she's just like, hello, can I talk to you for a second? And he's like, yeah. He goes, let me show you something. And she holds out her hand, and she's got this little metallic disc. And he goes, what's that? And he goes, this is what used to be used centuries ago. It was a form of currency and stuff. And she goes, you can have this. You just need to be able to tell me, what is it, heads or tails, when I flick it in the air and stuff. And she was testing his senses. Like, yeah, he was strong, he was big, he was like able to, run and move really quick, but she needed to see if he had a keen eye. And he kept calling it. He just kept calling, like, heads. And I saw it, like, it's heads. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, I'm absolutely positive. It's heads. I saw it when it hit your hand. And she was trying to do it quicker and quicker and quicker. And he was just saying, yeah, it's tails now. And she was like, all right, yeah, you can have this. So she's doing this with all these kids and stuff. And they have all these kids in this big freaking auditorium place because they basically kidnap all these kids. The UNSC steals these children and replaces them with human growth hormones, so they're clones, and they die like not too long after. So the parents have no suspicion that their kids have been taken away from them. So Halsey is telling all these kids, she's like, I don't know what to say. Like, you'll never see your parents again and stuff. So she's just said, you're going to be the elite force for the UNSC to stop these insurgents and to stop all this and that and all like. And it shows her boost, like she's going through these different experiments and she's trying to teach them, you have a squad, you have a team, you have to work together to solve these problems and stuff. You can't just be a solo person. It shows you how he becomes the master chief of his entire platoon, of all the Spartans. And it gets to this point where Cortana, the clone, the AI clone hologram of Halsey, she has to choose which Spartan suit she gets to go into to infiltrate with, because they have to basically use the ship to go find a Covenant ship, retrieve it, eliminate all hostiles, and bring it back to try and reverse engineer their technology. And so Cortana's she's looking through all these files and stuff to see which Spartan. She's just like, interesting. What the hell? That's impossible. How do you do that? And Halsey's like, so I guess you've gotten up to Spartan 117, John? And she's just like, yeah. It's saying here that he accomplished this and he took out this many hostiles and stuff, but it doesn't explain how he does it. It just shows like everyone was saved and this was like stopped and stuff. And Halsey goes, look, he's not like the giant 7-8 foot Spartans over here. He's not like the fast Kelly ultra fast speed Spartan over here. He's not the smartest. He is the luckiest. He is the best. Like, he's equal across all boards and stuff. And the book goes into like detail when they're trying to run them through a maze, a squad, and all the major military heads are all watching this. And they're just like, you have to capture this flag up on top of this massive pole in this big freaking maze facility. And they said, we've got cameras watching you, we've got everything, and you've got live rounds, these different drone turrets, so you will be shot at and stuff. So you have to devise a plan to go and get this thing without being killed and stuff, and points will be awarded and everything. And so the chief is looking at his like 20 Spartans and he's just like, okay, how long do we have? And they're just like, you're being timed, take as long as you need. And they're like, all right. And so they go off and they're all watching and nothing's happening. There is no movement and stuff. And they're just like, what are they doing? Why are they waiting so long? And all of a sudden they see this blur and stuff. And they're just like, what the hell? What was that? And they try to wind up the tape to see, oh, it looks like a blur off one of the fastest Spartans running past. That must have been Kelly and stuff. And they were just like, turrets ready, get them ready because they're probably going to make a dash for the flag. And they're like, are the turrets online? And they're like, no, the turrets are offline. It's like, what? They took those out? Get the cameras ready. Freaking get us eyes on how they took out the turrets. We can't. They just took out the cameras. And they're like, what the hell? Freaking they all run over to the window and then they just see the chief standing there with the flag, waving it like, I got it. Like, what now? Did we win? And they're just like absolutely mind boggled, like, all right, yeah, I guess they are ready to go face off against the Covenant. So there's all these different things in the book. I'll have to like Just give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. I don't know where the book is, but God damn it.
Well, I actually want to read it now, I'll be honest with you, because it's the only way I'm going to get, I don't know, the ability to engage in something worth it.
That's the
Oh,
Full of
yeah.
Reach book
Full of
there.
Reach.
This is the book based on Halo Combat Evolved, The Flood. It follows up with the game that goes in between Halo and Halo 2, which is First Strike. And then there's another book that's in between Halo 2 and Halo 3. And this is where the
Oh,
chief
goes
finds
events.
out that his Spartans are all alive. He thought they were all dead on Reach when Reach got glassed. And it's just it's a great read. I think it gives you, when you play the game, you look at it as from a different perspective when they make references to different stuff in the books. But I'm just like, oh damn, this is badass. But yeah, I just I'll let you bounce because I don't want to keep you like
No,
any
but
longer.
I actually, Stan, I want to read the books now. I've been thinking about what to read, uh, and I
I'll,
almost finished June
I'll
because I
try
really do
and
like the June. But the Halo, yeah.
yeah, I'll try and find you Fall of Reach because my mate Tim, he's not into sci-fi and all that stuff, so he took Reach and read up to like chapter 11 and was just like, this isn't for me. And I was like, oh, can you just finish it? Can you just finish it for me? And he was just like, I don't know, Stan, I don't know. I got up to the 11th chapter and I was just like, I don't know about this. But then I said, if you can just do me this favor, if you can just get to the end of this and I'll never read it again. Like I'll never bug you to read it any more of it of this stuff. And he took the bait, and yeah, I was just like kind of all right, freaking, he's not interested in it. And then like a year later, he came back going like, look, I'm feeling a little bit like I want to play the game now. I want to find out what happens. And that's when I said, like, this book is based on the game. If you want to read the book or play the game. And he turned around and just said, like, yeah, I'll probably just read that book and stuff because I want to find out what happens and everything. And then he was saying like, oh, it's not the same writer. It's William something, so you can tell it's got a different take on it. But then I said like, now Eric Nyland comes back for the next book and the fourth book as well. But yeah, I'll try and get you this. I'll try and get you this. I'll find it. I know where Fall of Reach has gone. Our book. It's in there. I had a quick look, but I couldn't see it. But we'll try and get you that. Before you bounce, this Avatar movie coming out in December, and it's gonna have this Avengers Doomsday trailer, and I was like, kind of, I don't know. They've had so many misses in the last 5, 6 movies and stuff. They've only gotten lucky with Spider Man, No Way Home, and Deadpool and Wolverine. So now it's just, it's at this point now where I'm just like looking at it going, if Doomsday doesn't make like $1 billion, it's going to be a financial loss because Downey Jr.'s paycheck is a lot. Chris Evans' paycheck's a lot. Like, you know, Chris Hemsworth, all these stars that they've got in there. And basically, Doomsday and Secret Wars is going to be a reset. So don't be surprised if you find out like, oh look, they've recast everyone. They've brought in all these no-name actors to get them for cheap. But this trailer coming out, I don't know if you've seen Avatar and stuff, but is it worth going to
Yeah.
see Avatar just to see the trailer, do you reckon? Or
Maybe. I like the first Avatar. The second one isn't not even close to keep my interest. I clocked Avatar on PlayStation, the open world game, which I really liked because I do like the universe. I do like Avatar. I love the concept. I love that sci-fi. I love being able to put yourself in not a human body. Like it's really great. And the third one, listen, it might be good, might not be, but yeah, I don't know if you can beat the first Avatar. That's for sure.
yeah,
Frontier, Pandora Frontiers, I think that's what's on PlayStation. Yeah, but yeah, it just goes.
yeah,
If I'm playing the game though, I like Avatar, right? So,
yeah,
but yeah, do you mean like go and actually see it at the cinemas just for the trailer?
yeah.
Is it only available in
It'll
the
come out
movies as the
online.
trailer?
I think it's mainly because they
Well,
know everyone will go see Avatar. That's why they want to attach the trailer
I'll
to
go
it.
see. I'll actually go see Avatar with you, Stan. I like Avatar. Like I just didn't like the second movie as much, but I liked the game that was released.
Yeah,
So I'm keen enough to go see it. Like I don't hate Avatar. I wouldn't have spent so many hours playing Frontiers. Yeah,
I don't
I
understand
didn't
how
like it.
Avatar makes that kind of money and has that kind of following. It's like, do you know the lead character's name? Do you know what? Do you remember what the lead character's name of that movie is?
Because he wasn't Australian
Yeah, it's Sam Worthington. He
and he
plays
wasn't disabled.
he's Jake Sully.
It's an
His name,
underdog story, though, which is we all love underdog stories. You
but
know,
also
because we sympathised because he was in a wheelchair.
yeah, but it's
He was
just
from Kwinana. No, where was he born?
it was definitely South. Like
It was WA.
it was
Sam Worthington's
Rockingham.
WA, isn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
Rockingham. I think it's Rockingham, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh, I said Kwinana. I was close, right?
yeah. It's all the same down south anyway. It's all just like nah, it's down
Says me.
south.
I was born in Armidale, mate. So
Yeah, but yeah, freaking. I'll let you go, dude. I didn't mean to keep you up for so long, but you know how we get when we
that's
start
right.
chatting away.
It's
Like
because we skipped one though, so we've had to try and jam pack it into one. And yeah,
yeah,
I am the weakest link.
well, that's another thing
Yeah.
too. Because when I hear from a certain rogue kitty cat saying, yeah, he don't stop working. He doesn't sleep. He just keeps working, and it kind of worries her a little bit. Where she's just like, I don't know if he's had lunch today, and she's just sort of like,
Yeah, I'm getting in trouble for it. Like
yeah,
I need to, and I resisting the urge to not work on the weekend because it's hard. But listen, it's all for a good cause.
yeah.
So
I mean,
it's the hard yards to make our make life easier in the future. So
yeah, and plus too, it's think about this time next year. It won't be Bella or Baxter you're holding in your arms while we're chatting away and
yeah,
stuff.
gosh.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where it's just kind of like, hey, it's not about me. It's not about my hopes and dreams. It's all about this little miniature version of me. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool as well because yeah, just keep the photos coming and stuff. Like it's really kind of cool. But anyway, we'll wrap it up because Rogue Kitty Cat's saying like, let him sleep. He needs to sleep. Damn it. But I'm just like,
Hey, as long as Stacey's still awake, I don't know if she's gone to bed yet.
yeah,
I've got a chance. All right. And yeah, she's building a hospital on PlayStation. She's got some. Oh, it's not Sims, but she's into something. So
yeah. What was it?
What?
She said it the other night. What she was playing
Oh.
or something. Yeah. But like, yeah, same with Rogue Kitty Cat. She's building societies and stuff and all that on what's it called?
Anno.
Anno. Yeah. So like,
Oh, okay. I've been playing Outer Worlds too, but Core Keeper, I just love the 8-bit retro style. I like, yeah, Core Keeper. It reminds me of Legend of Zelda, but in a very minimalistic. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Well, have
It's
a
all
good
good.
weekend.
whatever keeps us
Are you
occupied.
okay?
We'll catch you later.
She's just
What'd
like,
she
he
say?
needs to sleep. She's like, have a good weekend, have a good sleep. And I'm like,
No,
relax, he's fine.
I've started to yawn now, so that's the telltale sign.
That's all cool. But yeah, I take advantage of these non-school nights. So it's like Friday and Saturday night is the don't have to look at the clock and be like, oh, 10 o'clock's approaching, 10 o'clock's getting here. Oh, great, it's bedtime.
I don't have any time during the week, Stan. It's, yeah, next to nothing. And then on the weekend, I feel guilty not doing anything that's work related because I know I'm just delaying the inevitable, and it's, the ever. Yeah, anyway.
Just be careful with that grind.
That was good.
It's brutal, but yeah, I mean, I know
That's right. You can. Didn't Danny DeVito say you can sleep when you're dead? Isn't that wasn't it he that quoted? Yeah, he
Well,
quoted that. I
Jeffrey
think it was
Rush
Danny.
as
Was
Barbosa.
it Jeffrey Rush?
He said
Someone
it.
quoted it first, and I forget who it was, but you can sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, Jeffrey Rush as Barbosa in Pirates of the Caribbean was like, push on, push on. You can sleep when you're dead. Push on. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
all
actually,
right.
yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah. But
Another good series.
yeah.
Good set of movies, mate. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. That's a franchise that I'm hoping Johnny Depp does get some bank on to return, but it's up to him. I mean, Disney did fuck him royally.
Oh, yeah.
And now he gets the last laugh to be like, now you got to come knocking on my door begging me to freaking do it. But yeah. But you're just like, let him go to sleep.
Well, we're going to rate out to
That's
Snow
right.
Walkthrough, who's playing Mass Effect because it's N7 weekend.
Ah, okay. Mass Effect girl.
Exactly.
All right. But we'll let you go. And I'll see if I can try and find this Fall of Reach book and get it to you. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm keen to read it, I'll be honest with you. I really do like Halo, and I like the universe.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. But thanks so much for sticking around for this long. God, it's like nearly 12:30 now. So it's like, jeez Louise, dude.
You've had a good run. It's a good
Yeah.
run.
Definitely. It's badass. I was just glad I got to review this all with you and stuff and go through it and stuff. It's easier to bounce off someone who's got another opinion and stuff. So it's not just me rambling, but it still is me rambling, but it's good to get a different take on it and stuff. But yeah, we'll rate out. But yeah, I'll let you go. And we'll hopefully pick up on this again. Like hopefully, because we're going to go and see Running Man next week. So we'll probably want to review that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I might try and see that actually.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've actually gone to the cinemas, but I'd actually do want to see Running Man.
Are we seeing on Wednesday? It's
Gold Club.
Gold Class we're going to in
Hoyts.
Carambine in Hoyts. If you want to tag along.
Oh, yeah.
If he's up for it. And it's at 7?
You just gave away location, timing, where
You
we're
be
gonna be.
shh.
Okay, bye everyone.
You're
Thanks
so
for watching.
weird. Road Kitty